The Battle of Stalingrad was a unique proving ground that tested men and machines to their absolute limits. The urban combat and harsh winter conditions challenged the doctrines of armored warfare, and the tanks that fought there were forced to adapt or be destroyed. During the 1942 advance, Panzer III, Ausf J, L, and M were the backbone of German armored divisions, often outnumbering Panzer IV's 2-to-1. Their speed enabled deep thrusts, though fine dust clogged filters, Maybach engines overheated, and fuel shortages slowed spearheads. The 5cm KWK-39 L60 could defeat early T-34 models at short range, making the Panzer III the preferred spearhead in open plains. In Stalingrad's urban battle, Panzer III's speed and firepower proved inadequate. The guns struggled against dug-in T-34s and bunkers, while thin armor fell to Soviet rifles, and Molotovs exploited rear grills. Narrow tracks bogged easily in rubble. Ambushes exploited limited traverse, and the tank's small-caliber gun was less useful for blasting buildings with HE rounds. When Operation Uranus began, Panzer III's still formed the majority but were easily outclassed by T-34s. Fuel shortages, poor protection, and weak guns reduced them to mostly infantry support. Encircled, they became immobile strongpoints, cannibalized for parts until the surrender of the encircled German forces. The long-barreled Panzer IV Ausf F2 and Ausf G were Germany's most effective tanks in mid-1942. Their long 7.5cm KWK-40 L43 could kill T-34s frontally at 1,200 to 1,500 meters. Nicknamed Spitzyalny by Soviet crews, it far outclassed the Panzer III, proved reliable in steppe conditions, and became the division's primary tank killer during the German advance. In Stalingrad, its gun remained formidable, but urban terrain blunted its advantages. Its tall profile and limited maneuverability made it vulnerable to infantry with Molotovs, rifles, and ambushes from cupper floors or basements. It was indispensable for blasting buildings with HE shells, but commanders avoided pushing them deep into the city. During Operation Uranus, remaining Panzer IVs were scattered in small groups to act as fire brigades. They were effective tactically, but eventually overwhelmed by Soviet numbers and mobility. Once encircled, they became static pillboxes, rationing shells, camouflaged in ruins, and cannibalized for parts. In 1942, T-34-76s were still respected by the Germans, though fewer were concentrated in and around Stalingrad. Many were committed piecemeal without support, limiting their effectiveness, while Luftwaffe strikes inflicted heavy losses. T-34's wide tracks gave mobility on steppe and rivers, and in ambush or hull-down positions, they could defeat Panzer III's and short-barreled Panzer IV's. However, the new Panzer IV Ausf F2 and G erased T-34's armor advantage with long-range kills. Inside the city, the T-34 became the most effective urban tank. Wide tracks crossed rubble, and many were dug in as strong points or used for surprise counterattacks. Paired with infantry, they blasted German positions and terrified troops. Even immobilized, they served as static bunkers. During Operation Uranus, mass T-34 brigades spearheaded breakthroughs against weak Axis flanks moved at high speed across snow and frozen steppes. Once encirclement established, T-34's sealed exits patrolled the ring, crushed breakouts, and slowly reduced the pocket. The KB-1's thick armor remained nearly invulnerable to most German weapons in 1942, forcing reliance on Panzer IV F2 and G 88mm guns or the Luftwaffe. Rare but intimidating, KB-1 could stall German advances from hull-down positions, though mechanical failures, poor mobility, and limited numbers reduced their impact. In Stalingrad streets, few KV-1s remained. Too slow for counterattacks, they were instead positioned as static strongpoints at choke points, and their 76.2mm gun dominated streets easily. They were often used as fire bases, while the more versatile T-34 bore the brunt of urban fighting. During Operation Uranus, a number of KV-1s spearheaded breakthroughs against Romanian and German defenses, shrugging off light anti-tank fire and causing panic. However, they lagged behind T-34s due to high fuel demands and slow speed. Outside the encirclement, surviving KV-1s crushed strongpoints and shielded infantry, as their armor was immune to most German guns. Symbolic, but few, they marked the tank's final frontline role before being eclipsed by the T-34. This analysis shows how the battle's unique conditions exposed the strengths and weaknesses of each tank. The Panzer III proved obsolete, while the Panzer IV's firepower was neutralized by the close-quarters fighting. The T-34 emerged as the most successful overall design, its mobility and robust design making it perfectly suited for the urban and winter warfare that defined the conflict. Finally, the KV-1, while a terrifying and nearly impenetrable monster, was too slow and unreliable to be a decisive factor. Thank you for watching, and see you in our next video.